The day I found out my husband Mark had cheated with my son, Tyler's 18-year-old girlfriend, was a gut-wrenching blow that shattered my entire existence. A betrayal so revolting it felt like someone had ripped my heart out and stomped on it. His dirty secrets, a ticking bomb I'd stumble into, a Reddit-level disaster that still haunts me. I was 46, a nurse who'd patched up strangers for decades, tough as nails on the outside, married to Mark for 22 years. Our little two-story house, a cozy bubble where Tyler, our 19-year-old son, still slept in his teenage cave. His girlfriend, Kaylee, a regular guest, her bubbly chatter filling our evenings like she was part of the furniture. It started with a slow burn of doubt, Mark's late nights at the accounting firm piling up like unpaid bills, his phone a fortress with a new passcode, his casual "works insane, babe," a flimsy shield I bought because I trusted him with every fiber of my being, blind to the rot creeping through our perfect little life. Then Tyler burst through the door one humid afternoon, his face pale as a ghost, eyes bloodshot, voice trembling like he'd seen a murder. "Mom, I caught Dad with Kaylee at her apartment. They were tangled up, didn't even see me." And my world crashed down, my stomach lurching, the air sucked out of my lungs. A truth so warped it hit me like a brick wall. My husband banging my son's girlfriend. A double stab that bled us both dry. A nightmare so twisted I could barely stand. I confronted Mark that night, the house eerily silent. Tyler locked in his room, his heavy metal a dull thud through the floor, my hands clenched as I faced him in our kitchen. "Tell me it's not true, you and Kaylee. Tell me right now." His eyes flicked side to side, sweat beading on his forehead. A cornered animal. "You're overreacting," he mumbled. But the lie collapsed fast, his face crumpling. "Fine, yeah, it happened. I screwed up." A confession that slammed into me like a wrecking ball, my legs wobbling, the room tilting, the man I'd built a life with, the guy who'd grilled burgers at Tyler's birthdays, now admitting he'd slept with a barely legal teenager, my son's first real love, a betrayal so nauseating it turned my stomach inside out. I saw Kaylee in my mind's eye, her flirty smirks at our table, her "you're the best, Mrs. H" over my apple pie, now a conniving little snake. Mark's hands, the ones I'd held through miscarriages and moves, now grimy with her, a marriage I'd poured my soul into, reduced to a steaming pile of garbage. My trust incinerated. My family a war zone I'd never signed up for. "You're a monster," I choked out, tears scalding my face. My voice a raw howl. His "I didn't mean it," a coward's whimper. The space between us a gaping wound. Tyler's agony upstairs a twin to mine. A secret I'd barely scratched. A cesspool I'd dive into head first. I threw him out on the spot, my voice a feral growl. "Pack your stuff and get the hell out." The door slamming shut, his suitcase a pathetic lump on the porch. Tyler's choked sobs seeping through the ceiling, my fingers trembling as I twisted the deadbolt. His pleas, "We can fix this." A drone I ignored, my rage a wildfire that devoured his excuses whole. The house turned into a haunted shell, every framed photo a gut punch. The couch we'd cuddled on a traitor. The bed a battlefield I couldn't even look at. My brain replaying Kaylee's giggles. Mark's lies, a life I'd stitched together now unraveling thread by thread. A son I'd let down by missing the red flags screaming in my face. I sank to the living room floor. The clock's tick, a cruel jab. Tyler's pain a weight crushing my chest. My heart pounding out a rhythm of fury and grief. His affair a fissure that tore us apart. A truth I'd hunt down like a bloodhound. A man I'd unmask as the fraud he'd become. Never suspecting his secrets ran deeper than this vile fling. A tangled web of filth I'd rip apart. A husband I'd loved now a stranger in my own home. A fight I'd take on with everything I had. A family I'd claw back from the brink. A strength I'd unearthed from the rubble he'd left me drowning in. Mark's betrayal with Kaylee was the first thread I pulled. But the secrets that unraveled after I kicked him out were a gut-twisting tangle of lies that turned my shock into a full-blown inferno. His dirty laundry a cesspool I waded through, a Reddit-level mess that kept me up nights. I was still reeling, the house a hollow shell, Tyler barely speaking, his eyes dead as he shuffled to his room, when I grabbed Mark's old laptop from the den, a dusty relic he'd left behind. My nurse's hand steady but my heart racing, determined to dig into the filth he'd hidden. The password was our anniversary. A cruel irony that unlocked a flood, emails popping up, dozens to Kaylee, flirty at first. You're my escape. Then graphic. Last night was weld. A timeline stretching back months. My stomach churning. My son's girlfriend a toy in his game. My marriage a lie he'd laugh through. A secret life I'd slept beside. A man I'd trusted, now a predator I'd never known. I kept scrolling, the screen a blur, my breath shallow, each message a fresh stab. Pictures too. Kaylee in poses I couldn't unsee. Mark's replies, a sleazy drool. Can't get enough. A disgusting dance that started way before Tyler caught them. My boy's heart a pawn he'd crushed. My rage boiling over, tears streaking my face as I pieced it together. But it didn't stop there. Oh no! The rabbit hole went deeper. Other names popping up. Women I didn't know. Drinks tonight. Hotels booked. A string of flings, some overlapping. My husband a serial cheater. A sleaze who'd played me for years. His late nights a cover for motel rooms and bar stools. My trust a rug he'd pulled. A life I'd built, a house of cards he'd kicked down. I slammed the laptop shut, my hands shaking, the room spinning. His betrayal with Kaylee just the tip. A whole iceberg of dirt sinking me, a truth so ugly it clawed at my sanity. A husband I'd love now, a ghost I'd bury. I dug more, my fury a fuel, rifling through his desk. A locked drawer I pried open with a screwdriver. My nurse's calm gone, papers spilling out, bank statements I'd never seen. Withdrawals bleeding our savings. Thousands funneled to accounts I didn't recognize. My jaw dropping, my chest tight, vacations I'd never taken, gifts I'd never worn. A secret stash he'd blown on his women, my hard-earned checks a piggy bank for his lust. A betrayal so deep it stole my breath. Then the texts, his phone synced to the laptop. A jackpot of filth. Kaylee's "you're better than him." A slap to Tyler's face, others begging, "When's next time?" A chorus of side pieces. My husband a king in his own twisted court. My family a joke he'd smirked at. A secret empire of deceit I'd lived blind to. A man I'd vowed to, now a stranger I'd unmask. Tyler found me, the desk a war zone, papers everywhere. My face a mess, his voice low. "What's all this?" And I broke, "Your dad's a liar, it's worse than Kaylee." Showing him the emails, the queen, his eyes hardening. He's dead to me. A bond we'd share in this hell. His hurt, a mirror to mine. Mark's secrets, a fire we'd face. A betrayal we'd fight together. I held him, the house cold. My son's trust shattered. My resolve stealing. His affair a spark. His lies a blaze. A life I'd reclaim. A truth I'd chase. Never dreaming how far the rot spread. A husband I'd strip bare. A family I'd mend. A strength I'd forge from the chaos he'd left. A battle I'd win. A story so wild it'd keep you hooked. A dirt pile I'd shovel till the end. Mark's secrets spilled out like a busted sewer line. And the fallout I faced after uncovering his affair with Kaylee and his web of lies was a brutal storm that tested every ounce of my grit. A Reddit tier chaos that left me and Tyler picking up pieces of a life we'd never asked to lose. I was still in shock. The house a crime scene of betrayal, papers strewn across the desk, his laptop a glowing Pandora's box. When Tyler sat me down, his voice a low growl. "We're done with him, right?" My chest ached, my son's eyes hard, his trust torched by the man who'd raised him. Kaylee's betrayal a double hit, my nod a vow. He's gone. We're enough. A pact forged in the wreckage, his hug a lifeline, my nurse's strength fraying, Mark's filth a weight we'd carry, a fallout we'd navigate together. A family I'd hold through the fire he'd set. The next day hit like a freight train, word spreading fast, my phone buzzing with texts, friends whispering, "Is it true?" Neighbors staring as I dragged trash bags of Mark's junk to the curb, my face a mask, my heart a mess, the small town gossip mill churning. Mark and the kid? Gross. A humiliation I swallowed at my pride a casualty in his war. Tyler faced it too, his buddies texting, "Kaylee's trash, man." Her name a curse, his silence a shield. My son's world flipped. His first love? A knife in his back. Mark's secrets, a public stain we'd wear. A fallout wood I couldn't outrun. A shame I'd fight through, my resolve a steel rod. His betrayal a spotlight I'd dim. I kept moving, scrubbing the house, erasing him. My hands raw, my mind racing. Kaylee's giggles a ghost. Mark's lies a stench. A life I'd reclaim, a truth I'd wield. A man I'd bury in the dirt he'd dug. Work was hell. My shifts a blur. Colleagues tiptoeing, you okay? Their pity a sting. My scrub's a shield. Patience charts a distraction. My focus split. Mark's voice in my head. It just happened. A lie I'd choke on. His secrets a shadow I'd shake. A fallout I'd endure. My strength a flicker I'd fan. Tyler took it harder, ditching classes. His job at the garage a refuge. Grease on his hands, rage in his eyes. I trusted her, he'd mutter, my heart breaking. His youth stolen. Kaylee's betrayal a wound. Mark's filth a scar. A bond we'd mend. A fight we'd share. A family I'd glue back. A fallout we'd rise from. I'd cook dinner, the kitchen quiet. His nods my reward. Our silence a pact. Mark's absence a void. His dirty empire a ruin we'd outlast. A truth I'd chase. A strength I'd build. A life we'd claim from his ashes. Then Kaylee called, her voice a shock. I'm sorry, it's not my fault. A whimper through the line, my blood boiling. You slept with my husband, broke my son, own it. My yell a release, her sobs a noise I cut off. Tyler grabbing the phone, you're nothing. His voice ice, her tears a game. Mark's secrets a thread she'd tied, a fallout I'd face. A girl I'd banish, a husband I'd erase, a son I'd lift, a battle I'd win. The house settled, my hands steady. Tyler's trust fragile, my resolve iron. Mark's affair a spark, his lies ablaze. A life I'd rebuild, a truth I'd own, a family I'd save, a strength I'd forge, never guessing how deep his dirt ran. A man I'd strip bare, a story so wild it'd hook you. A fight I'd take to the end, a piece I'd claw from the chaos he'd left. The fallout from Mark's betrayal was a relentless grind, but the dirt that kept coming as I dug deeper into his secrets was a nauseating avalanche that turned my rage into a cold, calculated hunt. A Reddit-style unraveling that peeled back layers of a man I'd never truly known. I was knee-deep in it, the house a war zone of his leftovers. Tyler's anger a simmer beside me, when I found a hidden box in the attic, a dusty time capsule under old coats, my nurse's hands prying it open, my gut twisting at the sight, receipts, photos, a burner phone, a jackpot of filth that made Kaylee look like a footnote, my husband's double life a sewer I'd wade through, a truth so dark it fueled me, a son I'd shield, a fight I'd wage, a story so twisted it'd grip you tight. I flicked on the phone, my breath shallow, messages lighting up. Meet me tonight. She's clueless. A chorus of women, my jaw dropping, my heart pounding. Mark's affair's a sprawling web. My marriage a sham he'd smirk through. A secret empire I'd torch. A man I'd dismantle piece by piece. The receipts told a tale. Dinners I'd never eaten. Hotels I'd never slept in. Jewelry I'd never worn. Thousands siphoned from our joint account. My hard-earned wages a slush fund for his flings, my blood boiling, my hands shaking, the burner buzzing with old voicemails. You're my favorite, a sultry purr. When's the wife out? A husky laugh, a parade of voices, my stomach lurching. Kaylee just won in a lineup, my son's pain a speck in his spree, a betrayal so vast it swallowed me. A life I'd built a punching bag he'd pummeled. I found letters too, tucked in an envelope. You promised you'd leave her, a woman's a scrawl. I'm pregnant. Another's plea, my knees buckling. The attic a tomb, Mark's secrets a hydra. Each head a new stab, my trust a joke, my family a game. A husband I'd loved, a liar I'd unmask. A fury I'd unleash. A truth I'd own, a fight I'd finish with every breath. Tyler caught me, the box a mess around me, his voice sharp. What now? And I showed him. Your dad's a cheater, years of it. Not just Kaylee, his face hardening. He's a pig. A growl that matched mine, his fists clenched. My son's world rocked again. My resolve stealing. His hurt a fire we'd share. Mark's dirt a mountain we'd climb. A bond we'd forge in this hell. I kept digging. The phone a gold mine. Contacts name client 3. Red dress. A roster of shame. Photos too. Mark grinning with strangers. My tears falling. His life a circus. My pain a sideshow. A secret stash of cash in the box. Hundreds rolled tight. My jaw tight. My nurse's calm gone. His betrayal a flood. A life I'd reclaim. A son I'd lift. A man I'd bury. A strength I'd summon from this muck. I called my sister Jen, my voice a wreck. He's worse than I thought. Years of women. Money gone. Her gasp a lifeline. He's trash. You're enough. A rock I leaned on. Tyler pacing. We don't need him. His strength a mirror. My fight ablaze. Mark's secrets a beast I'd slay. A fallout I'd face. A truth I'd wield. A family I'd mend. A husband I'd erase, never guessing how far his filth stretched. A story so wild it'd hook you. A battle I'd win. A piece I'd claw from the chaos he'd left. The house settled. My hands steady. Tyler's trust fragile. My heart scarred. Mark's affair a spark. His lies a inferno. A life I'd rebuild. A dirt pile I'd shovel. A son I'd save. A strength I'd grow. A victory I'd claim from the ruins he'd built. A fight I'd take to the end. The dirt from Mark's secret life piled up like a landfill. But the stand I took against him was a line in the sand I'd die on. A fire that burned through the fallout and lit a path for me and Tyler. A Reddit-worthy showdown that'd keep you glued to every word. I was done digging. The attic box a smoking gun. My hands steady as I sat Tyler down. His eyes a storm. We're ending this. He's not winning, my voice steel, his nod fierce. He's nothing. A pack sealed in the wreckage. My nurse's resolve a blade. Mark's filth a target. Kaylee a pawn. His empire of lies a castle I'd raise. A son I'd protect. A fight I'd own. A strength I'd wield. A story so raw it'd hook you deep. I called a lawyer, Jen by my side. Divorce him, take everything. Her push a spark. My heart pounding. Mark's secrets, a weapon I'd turn, a stand I'd take, a life I'd reclaim, a husband I'd bury, a truth I'd shout from the ashes he'd left. Mark showed up, banging the door, his voice a snarl. Let me in, we need to talk. A shadow on the porch, Tyler's fist tight, my glare cold. You're not welcome. My yellow wall, his pleas a hum. I can explain. A lie I'd heard, my stand a rock. His dirt a flood I'd dam. Kaylee's betrayal a sting. His women a chorus I'd silence. A family I'd guard. A fight I'd win. He pushed. I'll fix it. Don't do this. His eyes wild, my laugh bitter. You fixed nothing. You broke us. Tyler stepping up. Get out, you pig. His voice a roar. Mark flinching. My son's strength a mirror. My resolve iron. His secrets a chain I'd snap. A stand I'd hold, a man I'd crush, a life I'd rebuild, a truth I'd own, a victory I'd carve from his ruin. The lawyer moved fast, papers filed, assets frozen, my voice calm. He's a cheater, drained our savings. Her nod sharp. We've got him, a plan unfolding. Mark's calls a barrage. You can't do this. His panic a song, my silence a shield. Tyler's trust fragile. My heart scarred. Kaylee's shadow a ghost. His flings a parade I'd end. A stand I'd take. A fight I'd wage. A son I'd lift. A strength I'd grow. A story so wild it'd grip you. He fought back, texts begging, I'll change. A voicemail sobbing, I need you. A con I'd seen through, my reply a brick. You're done, his dirt a noose. My nurse's hand steady. The house a fortress. His betrayal a blaze I'd douse, a life I'd reclaim, a husband I'd erase, a truth I'd wield, a piece I'd claw from the chaos he'd sown. Tyler stood with me, his voice low. I hate him. A confession that broke me, my arms around him. We're enough. A vow I'd keep, the duplex quiet, my resolve a flame, Mark's secrets a beast I'd slay. Kaylee a memory, his women a nightmare I'd wake from, a stand I'd hold, a fight I'd finish, a son I'd save, a strength I'd forge, never guessing his last play, a man I'd strip bare, a family I'd mend, a battle I'd win, a story so twisted it'd keep you locked in. The lawyer called, "He's broke, fighting dirty." My grin grim, "Let him try." My hands steady, Tyler's eyes fierce, Mark's affair a spark, his lies a wildfire, a life I'd rebuild, a dirt pile I'd shovel, a son I'd raise, a victory I'd claim, a stand I'd take to the end, a peace I'd build from the rubble he'd left, a truth I'd own, a husband I'd banish, a strength I'd rise with, a fight I'd never lose. Mark's desperate fight crumbled under the weight of his own filth, and the victory I claimed was a blazing triumph over his betrayal with Kaylee and the mountain of secrets he'd buried me under. A Reddit-level saga that ended with me and Tyler standing tall, a peace forged from the chaos he'd unleashed. The lawyer called, voice crisp, "He's done. Settlement's yours. He's got nothing." My heart surging, the house a battlefield won, Tyler's grin a rare light. We beat him, his pride a mirror, my nurse's hands steady, Mark's empire of lies a pile of ash, Kaylee a ghost, his women a faded echo, a stand I'd taken, a fight I'd finished, a son I'd saved, a strength I'd grown, a story so wild it'd keep you hooked till the last word. I signed the papers, my name a blade, his accounts drained, my savings reclaimed, a victory I'd clawed from his ruin, a truth I'd owned, a husband I'd banished, a life I'd rebuilt, a piece I'd carved from the wreckage he'd left. He tried one last stand, showing up at the duplex, his face gaunt, voice a rasp. "You've ruined me." A plea on the lawn, my glare ice. "You ruined us." My words a hammer, Tyler beside me. "You're a joke." His voice steel, Mark's eyes darting, his dirt a noose, my resolve a wall, Kaylee's betrayal a scar, his secrets a flood I'd dammed, a family I'd mended, a fight I'd won. He begged, "Give me something. I'm broke." His hands empty, my laugh sharp. "You gave me nothing but lies." The door slamming, his shadow shrinking, my son's trust fragile, my heart healed, his affair a spark, his lies a blaze I'd doused, a victory I'd claimed, a man I'd erased, a strength I'd risen with, a peace I'd built, a story so raw it'd grip you tight. The neighbors watched, his car sputtering off, my stand a beacon, his downfall a whisper, a truth I'd wielded, a life I'd shaped, a son I'd lifted, a battle I'd owned. The divorce finalized, the house mine, Tyler's life steadying, his garage job a rhythm, my shifts a calm, Mark's secrets a tomb I'd sealed, Kaylee a memory we'd burned, his women a nightmare we'd woken from, a victory I'd held, a fight I'd ended, a family I'd forged, a strength I'd found, a story so twisted it'd keep you locked in. I sold his junk, the cash a balm, my savings growing, a small win I'd savor, the duplex a haven, Tyler's laugh a song, my heart lighter, his betrayal a shadow I'd banished, a truth I'd faced, a man I'd stripped bare, a life I'd reclaimed, a peace I'd earned, a son I'd raised, a victory I'd etched in stone. Jen toasted me. "You're a badass," her grin wide, my nod quiet. "We're free." A vow I'd keep, Mark's dirt a dust I'd swept, a stand I'd taken, a fight I'd won, a family I'd saved, a strength I'd grown, a story so wild it'd hook you till the end. Mark vanished, rumors of him crashing with a buddy, his life a wreck, my victory aglow, the house ours, Tyler's trust rebuilding, my shifts a pulse, Kaylee's face a blur, his secrets a grave, a stand I'd held, a fight I'd finished, a son I'd mended, a strength I'd claimed, a peace I'd built from the rubble he'd left. I'd sit at night, the stars bright, my coffee warm, Tyler's voice a hum, his "Thanks, Mom," a gift, Mark's betrayal a scar. I'd healed, a truth I'd owned, a man I'd buried, a life I'd shaped, a family I'd kept, a victory I'd won, a story so raw it'd keep you riveted, a fight I'd taken to the end, a peace I'd claimed, a strength I'd risen with, a husband I'd left in the dust, a dawn I'd made my own, a triumph I'd hold forever.